Recording in progress.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to and I'd like to call to order the May 19th, 2022 meeting of the West Sacramento Area Flood Control Agency. We are meeting this morning via live teleconference pursuant to Government Code Section 54953 as amended by Assembly Bill 361 to reduce the spread of COVID-19. Members of the public have been invited to participate in the meeting via live stream or phone call, which information was posted on our agenda. Will the meeting clerk please call the roll?
Chair Ramos?
Here.
Vice Chair Alcala?
Here.
And Director Ledesma is absent. Thank you.
Thank you. We do have a quorum, so we'll move forward with our agenda. First item 1A was presentation by the public on matters not on the agenda. Has there been any public requests to discuss matters?
There are no comments received from the public beforehand, and I invite anyone to speak now regarding any matters not on the agenda.
Okay, thank you. Not hearing anyone step in, we'll move on to item 1B, a report out on our closed session.
Good morning, Chair Ramos. The board met this morning on the three matters listed on the closed session agenda and took no reportable action.
Thank you. Item 1C, monthly and year-to-date revenue and expense report.
Good morning, board members and staff. I will be reporting out on the revenue and expenditures for the month of March 2022. In Fund 870, the beginning balance was $7 million. The agency received a small amount of only $29 in revenue. Expenditures were $407,000, making the ending position to be at $6.6 million. In our CIP Fund 871, the beginning balance was $7.13 million. There was no revenue. Expenditures totaled $188,000, making the ending position at $6.94 million. At the end of the month, the combined cash position was $13.59 million. As of April 11th, the position was at $13.53 million. So you may have noticed the beginning balances were a little different from last month's beginning position. This is due to finance moving the surplus O&M to our capital projects fund. So about $2.14 million was transferred from Fund 870 to 871. The agency received $159 for a quarter 41 true-up and $525,000 reimbursement for the RF&P grant. Other than that, I have nothing else to report. Please let me know if you have any questions.
No questions.
Any questions, Vice Chair? No questions here as well. So we'll move on to the consent item agenda, which has two items. One to continue the teleconferencing procedure, and the other one is the approval of our April 21, 2022 meeting minutes. I'd ask for there's any discussion on any of the items. Otherwise, I would entertain a motion to move the consent items.
Okay, so moved by Alcala.
And then I will second that motion. Would the clerk call the roll?
Vice Chair Alcala?
Aye.
Chair Ramos?
Aye.
Motion carries with a 2-1 roll call vote.
201. One absent.
2-0. Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Item 4A, WSAFCA project updates.
Thank you, Chair Ramos and board members. I'll go over just a few of the items that's in your packet. On the for Southport, the crediting package, we're working on that crediting package now in anticipation of execution of the project partnership agreement, the PPA with the Corps. That date now stands or at end of June for execution of that agreement. We do anticipate bringing an item to the board in June in anticipation of the Corps being ready to execute. So look for that next month. Once we submit the credit package, it'll probably be 6 months to 18 months for review and back and forth with information, but we'll start to get a good idea on how much of the cost from Southport will be creditable. So stay tuned for that. And then just a quick update on the storm drain master plan. The update is now complete, and the city, I think, is planning on taking an update to the city council in the near future. So to the extent that that affects either the WSAFCA or RD 900, or our member agency, we'll let the board know. On the federal project, I was looking through the progress report, and it doesn't specifically state in the progress report that the design package that was submitted to the Corps last year has been officially split into 2 design packages. So we'll update the report to reflect that. I think the board's aware. If not, here you go. And that was because of the FY22 funding. As you know, it came late in the fiscal year, but only half of the funding needed to construct the Yolo bypass was received by the Corps. So that design split was completed, and knowing that funding was a little shy of the full amount. So they're sitting tight on that now as we wait for that roughly 18 million that was authorized in the FY22 budget for that allocation to come to the district. So the district's kind of running low on fumes right now as they're prepping for the PPA. It's not much in the way of other support or other design work going on from the Corps until they get that allocation. What we're hoping for is additional funding for the Corps for our project in the FY22 work plan, which was technically due last week. By last Friday, it has not found its way to being posted. I'm going to check right now. And as of 9:10 this morning, still no FY22 work plan. But if there is additional funding in the work plan for our project, then the Corps will go back to the single design plan set, and we'll bid it as one project. The other option for that happening is if the FY23 budget is approved on time, right around October 1st, as the board is aware and as we reported, there is about $80 million in funding for the next fiscal year for the WSAC project. And that would provide obviously enough to construct both reaches at the same time. We just, either through the work plan or a timely FY23 budget, we're hoping that money comes in sooner rather than later. So the Corps can just, plan for one bid package as opposed to planning for 2 and spending more money and being less efficient. So that's how that's rolling out. I'll stop right there and see if there's any questions on that, the budgeting process and or how it affects our construction schedule.
Greg, no, I'm sorry, Tom, go ahead.
But I just have no questions, just comment that I wouldn't be holding my breath that 2023 budget will be passed on time.
Yeah, I was going to say that too, Tom. Even though I went to the Cap to Cap in Washington, D.C. with the mayor and the rest of the council, and we had an opportunity to speak with Congresswoman Matsui. And I know that certain members of Congress, are like Congresswoman Matsui, are really on our side. But obviously the tensions in Washington are very high. And it's leaking well over into the legislative realm. So you're right.
Yeah, and with this midterm election process that's ramping up, people are likely going to get very distracted.
Exactly.
Yep, I guess just the plan there is to, we have money in the president's budget. Just make sure it stays there, and we get it sometime in 2023. We'll see.
Yeah, and if we can just get a few crumbs out of the work plan, enough for the Corps to be confident about, bidding it as one package. That would be great. But I'm not really, I'm not holding my breath.
Any feedback on why the delay?
No. The only feedback I've received is nobody's ever gone to jail for being late with the work plan.
Got a lot of people watching the website, I'm sure.
Yeah. And then the only other thing I have a couple more things to report, but related to DC and the federal process, WRDA 2022 is making its way through, how does this work here? So there's one project of interest to us in WRDA 2022, and that's the Lower Cache Creek project. It's where it discharges into the bypass, the yellow bypass that is, and its chief's report was completed in 2021, and that project is slated for authorization through WRDA 2022. Total project cost is about $331 million. And I think the House T&I committee issued their draft, their draft WRDA, which went to markup yesterday, but I haven't heard the results of it.
Does that include the flood protection for woodland?
That is flood protection.
City woodland?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the other thing to report out with the FY23 appropriations bill is the new study start for the YOLO bypass study. And that's of interest to us because it will study the YOLO bypass as a part of the overall Sacramento flood control system with the goal of increasing flows in the bypass to help take flow off the main stem of the Sacramento River, reducing stages there, providing higher levels of flood protection. And obviously, the west side of our flood protection system runs right along the yellow bypass. So we support the study. And we're glad to see it get its study start. And we'll see as that study gets underway, we'll see how we interface with that project, and we'll keep the board updated. But we're still a ways out from that.
Okay.
And then the last thing to report is just the emergency preparation for flood season. There's been a couple of training sessions held here in West Sac in preparation for a much larger regional exercise late this summer. I think it's happening in August. We'll report out as the date gets clearer, but that's going to be all the way from agencies and entities participating, West Sac, Yolo County, and then Sac County, and then I think this is going all the way down through the Delta in terms of participation. So it's going to be, I think, the largest scale exercise that's been done on the West Coast that I'm aware of. So as we get more information, we'll share that.
Greg, I have some questions about that. So that I attended the I'm so sorry, I'm not thinking this morning, late night with City Council, but I did attend an emergency preparedness event. And I guess I'm asking, who are the people involved in these programs? Do we have the fire departments? Do we have all the Yolo County, or all the counties, I should say, California counties? Who exactly is involved in this? And what kind of, can you give just a little more specifics? I mean, do you guys have like escape routes? Can you tell us, in terms of maybe preparing the public, for emergency evacuations, things like that? I was just curious.
So the purpose of the exercise, so it was quite a few questions. So one, I don't have a list of all the participating agencies today. And I think that's still evolving. And this is primarily being led by the Yolo County Office of Emergency Services, And there are a number of participating cities and counties, and it really is, to sort of test out their emergency operations plans, sort of put it to the test. From that exercise, they do after action reports to provide feedback to each of the entities, and that way they can shore up their plans, give everybody a thumbs up. Our plan worked as for this exercise, anyways, as designed. And so I'm sure that information, and for the city of West Sac, it's our fire department, our EOC leads, which is Brian Johnson and Brenna Howell. And so I'm sure they'll provide an after action report, certainly to staff and city management, and perhaps to the city council as well. The city council may end up getting involved in the exercise depending on what's happening here locally. So the exercise will not be the same thing happening in each region that's participating. Each region has unique, flood bodies. The only thing that is consistent or the same is it'll be a flood-related emergency. But there could be power outages that are associated with that and other things that folks have to deal with. So our situation will be unique to West Sac, but we're going to be, coordinating regionally for materials, response, supplies, manpower, possibly evacuations. But all of those details we won't see up until the time of the incident, because we want us to do advanced planning for that. So we won't know until the day arrives what the situation is going to be.
Having served on the school board, I know how important it is to have partnerships, and especially with our school districts. Sometimes the kids are the only conduit, like especially in families where English is a second language. These children sometimes take information. They're the only ones who disseminate it out to their parents, the schools. If they're in session, I remember when I was a kid, you used to have these drills, not just fire drills, but for earthquakes and stuff. So I would just like to maybe recommend that we also partner up with them as well. I think that would be something that would be just very good for the entire community. The more information out there, the more aware people are, more prepared we are for an emergency. At least that was my understanding. And it was in LAO, the National Association of Latino Elected Officials. I got a scholarship to attend their emergency preparedness. It was very, very good. And it was, elected officials from throughout the United States. A lot of good recommendations. Thank you.
Just for the Washington Unified School District is a partner with our EOC activities. They're also we also include them in our pre-flood season preparation, local coordination. Sometimes they attend, sometimes they don't, but they always get the invite.
Thank you, Greg. That's great.
And then that's really all I had to, let me just check my notes. Yep, that's all I had to report.
Okay, well, thank you, Greg. Norma, any other questions?
Nope, that's it. Thank you.
Okay, I'll just make the comment that I'm old enough. I remember nuclear attack drills in grammar school, hiding under the desk. So
yeah,
I remember as well.
I don't know if they were targeting OLG or not, but we were ready.
Well, Holy Cross was ready too. So.
Okay.
What was the slogan, Tom? Duck and cover?
I can't remember. Is that for earthquake or is that?
That might have been. Yeah, well, yeah, I grew up in the Bay Area. That might have been earthquakes.
Yeah.
Wasn't too far.
Well, we
off.
were Catholic school, so ours was kneel and pray.
Yeah, say a Hail Mary. So, okay, well, thank you for the update. Any other director comments? Hearing none, we'll go to item 4C, which is adjournment. Thank you, everyone, and hopefully we'll see you all next month.
Okay.
Meeting
Thanks, everybody.
adjourned.
Thanks, Greg. Bye,
Bye.
Tom.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.